Welcome everyone. In today's video, we'll be going over 4 secrets to burn stubborn fat faster. Stubborn fat is something many people deal with, and it seems like no matter what they do, they just can't seem to lose their body fat in some specific places. The most common places people store stubborn fat is on the belly, love handles, thighs, and bat wings. After watching this video, you'll be well equipped to deal with all of your stubborn fat, despite the fact that it's usually very difficult and seemingly impossible. It's important to note that you can't target fat loss on any specific body part, despite what you might see on social media where influencers tend to share workouts that they claim will target fat burning on your belly, for example. This is complete BS, because we as humans burn body fat across the whole body and can't target fat burning for a specific area. Every person stores fat a bit differently due to multiple factors. Women often store their body fat on their thighs, while men tend to store body fat on their belly. This is often decided by genetics, and most of the time we have no control over it. The first thing we need to do to be able to burn stubborn body fat is to deplete our gas tank. We as humans need fuel to function and have energy to go about our day, much like a car needs gas to be able to drive. The difference between us humans and cars is that cars can't store extra fuel. Cars only have one gas tank and shut down when the gas is finished. Us humans, however, can store extra fuel on our body, so we can be prepared for a rainy day of no fuel. Our fuel is food, and we can store the energy from the food we eat on our bodies as fat. This is the reason you have a lot of body fat on your body, because you tend to overfuel your body with food. To change this, we need to deplete our gas tank and give our body less fuel in the form of food. If we do that, our body will tap into the extra fuel we have on our body, which is our body fat, to keep ourselves going. Our fuel is food, as we said before. And in food, there are calories. If your gas tank is 2,500 calories, you need to eat less than 2,500 calories for your body to use your body fat as energy. For example, if you only eat 2,000 calories while your gas tank is 2,500, your body will use 500 calories worth of your body fat to keep your body going. If you eat 3,000 calories when your gas tank is only 2,500, you'll store those extra 500 calories in the form of body fat. For reference, every pound of body fat is 3,500 calories. So if you are in a 500 calorie deficit every day for a week, you'll burn off 1 pound of body fat that week. You need to be in a calorie deficit if you want to get rid of your body fat. It's as simple as that, but there are ways to make that easier for you. So first of all, you must be in a calorie deficit, which we just covered. The second thing you should do is incorporate some heavy weight training. Weight training is not only a great way to increase your muscle mass, but it's also a great way to make your body use more energy. Being more active in general is a great way to force your body to use more energy and burn more calories. You can do cardio at the gym, go for a run, or ride your bike to achieve this. But weightlifting has great benefits that will aid you further when it comes to fat loss when compared to just cardio. As obvious as it sounds, when you lift weights, you build muscle. But the thing about muscle is that muscle needs energy, even if you're sitting down doing nothing. So by having more muscle mass on your frame, you'll burn more calories automatically. In short, the more muscle you have, the more energy you need, which will in turn burn more calories. So by putting focus on actually building muscle instead of putting all of your energy towards the cardio machine, you could see faster results. Just working out and lifting weights alone already burns calories, but at the same time, you're building muscle, and as we said before, having more muscle on your frame means you'll burn more calories. Doing both weightlifting and cardio is what we really recommend, but having more of your focus on building muscle is always going to provide you with better results over the long run. Sure, you could just do cardio and lose all the weight, but with smaller muscles, you'll be burning less calories on average every day, which means you'll have a harder time keeping the body fat off your frame. Having more muscle essentially increases the size of your gas tank because you need more energy to maintain your body as it is. In other words, you'll increase your calorie maintenance level if you have more muscle. The third thing that's really helpful when it comes to burning stubborn body fat is fasting. You've probably heard of fasting by now since it's on everybody's lips these days. Some even go so far as to say that fasting has some superhuman benefits like increasing growth hormone and faster fat burning while in a fasted state. But even if that's the case, that's not why fasting is so beneficial to losing fat. The biggest upside to fasting is much simpler than some superhuman benefits some claim fasting has. What fasting essentially does is it pushes your first meal further into the day, only giving you a limited time to actually eat. This means that when you wake up, you might wait until 3 p.m. to eat, and if you go to sleep at 10 p.m., you only have a 7-hour eating window. This limited eating window makes you more satiated during your eating hours. Being fuller and more satiated will make you less likely to overeat, and you'll also be able to eat bigger meals. Fasting isn't always a good fit for everyone, but fasting is especially useful for people who usually aren't hungry in the mornings. It's much easier to stay away from food if you haven't eaten anything from the time you woke up. which makes it much easier for you to not eat until 3 p.m. for example. There are a lot of different versions of fasting windows, but the most common one is the 16-8 version, which means your fasting window is 16 hours and your eating window is 8. You might think that a 16-hour fast is way too much, but you'll be sleeping for 7 to 8 hours of that time, so no worries. Fasting is essentially just a way to eat less calories by moving your first meal further into the day, giving you a smaller eating window, which will have you full and satiated when going to sleep. Fat loss at a basic level boils down to calories in, calories out. You could technically lose weight on a Twinkie diet if you wanted to, but the thing that matters most when in a calorie deficit is that the food you eat affects your satiety. And the more nutrient-dense the food you eat is, the more satiated you're going to be, the more enjoyable it's going to be to lose weight, and the more sustainable it's going to be to keep the weight off of you. So when trying to lose weight, it all comes down to how much you're fueling your body. Not all foods are the same for us. Some foods are very high in calories, which means you'll be able to eat less of that food compared to foods that have less calories. Some foods make us more satiated and keep us full for a longer period of time. Foods such as potatoes, for example, are much more satiating than a piece of chocolate. A piece of chocolate is usually full of sugar and calories, which spike our blood sugar through the roof, which comes crashing back down pretty quickly, making us sluggish and hungry. Potatoes, on the other hand, take longer to digest in our body, which makes us fuller and more satiated for a longer period of time. So, by incorporating foods that are not overly processed and full of sugar and calories, you'll be much less hungry and have more stable energy throughout the day. Eating foods that are lower in calories means you can eat a lot more of that food. More food in your belly, no matter the calories, the fuller and more satiated you'll be, keeping you from overeating and overfueling your body. We really hope our explanation throughout the video was clear for you, and hopefully you'll be able to implement our tips. We highly suggest you watch this video next if you want to learn more about fat loss. With that said, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving this video a like if you found it valuable in any way.